sphere, tricycle, crawler, starship, grain truck. Combine. There's a good one. So, yep, from a farm, kind of a John Deere colored combine. And this one has got some old wheels that turn the pieces in front. So there we go. We got the auger and the little feeder thing. I forget what that's called. Anyway, they're tied into that, and of course, this is the auger that goes out to dump the grain into the wagon or whatever. And that's all the automation stuff on this one. This guy's really fast though. I turned up the wheel speed on it because well, I was able to. This is the only vehicle I have that uses different size wheels for front and back. So it was an interesting balancing act to try to get the thing to steer. And as soon as it bounces off of something, you'll see it still doesn't steer that great. I can go right and left now. As soon as it gets to bouncing, so it's difficult. Doesn't have as much grip as it should. The front wheels come off the ground because the torque on the back wheels are too high. But I tweaked with the torque and stuff about as much as I could to make it, still functional, and just, I don't know, it was a balancing act, Of course, a lot of my stuff has rockets on it, so when you get in a tight spot, and oh how I hate the paint stage, you can always fly off the way. Alright. I'm going to load my new car, because that one is fun. That's too long to wait to get the treasure. So yeah, that's a big car. That's the biggest car I've ever made. It actually works pretty good, surprisingly. So a lot of this thing's collision off, you can just go right through it. But on the inside is a core piece of gold. It's pretty lightweight. I didn't use much gold on the thing, but it's got a lot of protection around me, and actually the people who are riding on it, they usually do pretty good too. And this one is fast. It really does live up to its license plate. For a wheeled vehicle, it ain't a whole lot that slows the thing down. Now the cauldron stays, but it's a little pitchy. It's giddy up. I'm gonna go around the cauldron. That's okay. So I got a pilot seat in this thing, so I can use that right there just a little bit to get myself out of that bind. Go around the corner a little faster. Comes paint stage, and that's why I hate the paint stage. It just wipes my vehicle clean of stuff. Alright, and of course, fly is good. So while I have this vehicle, while I'm coasting too fast. Oh, neat. You can see some of my suspension right there. That was not a good place to look. That one has some nice suspension on it. Let me load up another one just like that. Monster truck, where you at? So this is the one that I based that other one off of. So I stretched the monster truck in both directions. I made it wider and longer. They're the same wheels and the same suspension on both that last vehicle that you saw and this one. So I started with this one and I stretched it into that other one. But this one allows you to see the suspension as well. So I want to show you that real quick. It's kind of neat to see while it's in motion, but I have to delete this stuff to let you see it. There you go. So not much to it, just a bunch of hinges and pieces that kind of work together. A couple of servos in there. They're not really set to do anything specific. They just kind of allow motion. So I got that from a guy named Venus G-Force. He showed it to me, and I just I made what I thought he had made, and then sort of ended up modifying it and playing with it until it worked for me. But that's pretty much the same thing I think that he had. So it works pretty well. But of course, the hinges are a weak spot with a strength of 1. If they break, well, the whole thing just starts falling apart. Sometimes the wheels don't fall all the way off, but they get floppy, and that kind of miserably fails the whole idea of the vehicle. Well, since I'm here, load this. I got insta-load. Thank you, Hero, for letting me use your private server one last time. This is the miniature of my house build. And this is a 1/10 scale, and it's pretty much got all the fixings. The only thing that's missing, I think, is the chairs here. I added those to the house build, but I had already cloned this thing and pulled it out prior to that, so I haven't remade it. That's a pretty neat one. So on these guys, I put rockets and thrusters and pilot seat so I can control them. Protection blocks out in front of them, and so they will go to the end over and over again. And it's kind of fun. Got my little Rubik's Cube on there. So the city build that's inside the miniature that's inside the city build, it has these fake walls around it that allow you to see what looks like the brown and the green from the edges of the build area. So I took those off for this reason, but it allows you to kind of see in a little bit better. Oh, and this block right here was put in there for load for weight balancing. Does not need to be visible. And I'll save that again. Save. Okay, and here's another vehicle that I made. So this is the one I was telling you about before, where I've got different suspension on this one. So you can see there's springs right here. The other one had these big bars above it that were floppy, and it had it was a different suspension. This one I tried something a little more normal, but I still tied this pair together up inside here. I don't know if I can get a view of that. Oh, actually no, it's right here at the bottom. Yeah, so that right there, that green piece, that's a hinge, and it ties this bar, which holds this wheel, to this bar, which holds this wheel. So these two wheels are tied to that hinge that's holding that pair of wheels on, and then their suspension, their suspension is these springs. I think it's 2 or 3 springs on each one of them. So essentially, there's kind of like 6 springs because these two are tied together that help to hold them from the vehicle, but allows them to move at the same time. This one has a gigantic plow on the front of it. So the wheels do turn, but you can see they don't swing up and down. They would bounce as they bounce over things. But I do have protection blocks on some of these, so the only thing you're going to see them bounce over is something that explodes, or something that protection blocks failed to take out because I was going too fast, and the server can't process it fast enough. Trying to drive from this angle is interesting. Okay, that's it. I'm going to stop this video, and what happened right there was interesting. Let me see if there's anything else that I should show. Beechcraft Starship. That's an amazing aircraft that I was in the process of building. Didn't get far enough to even warrant showing it to you. It's going to be kind of neat when it gets done. Road Roller. That's a nice one that uses the basic platform from my monster truck as far as the wheels. But I've tied the 2 front wheels together and put a steering mechanism underneath this box right here that allows that whole front section to spin. Of course, the big seat, it's got a bunch of individual chairs on it. And then my chair sits behind that one. There's a lot of collision off stuff on this, so that you can just fly right through it. And And there's also a lot of plastic here, so that it's lightweight. Otherwise, it'd be pretty darn top heavy, and it wouldn't drive very well. It does all right though. It's a little funky to drive, but it makes it to the end. Bouncy. But yeah, it makes it to the end almost every time. Of course, I always got the jets. Get myself out of trouble if I need to. Speedboat. Doesn't really work. Not really a speedboat. Platform, tank, starship. I think that's it. Oh, no. That's not it. There's a school bus. Big school bus. Big wheels. I've done the big wheel thing a whole bunch of times. Each one looks just a little bit different. This one used to be kind of smooth, I thought. This was before I really learned how to make them nice and smooth, I guess. That's it. I'm going to call it quits there. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have to make signing off.